What's up, fish tank people? Dustin's Fish Tank bringing to you a little bit of garden pond action. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to bring you an update on this pond. It's going to be a quick video because I've actually got a lot going on with Greenhouse 2.0, and make sure you'll be tuning in on Sunday to watch the Greenhouse Saga continue on a Greenhouse Saga Sunday. But in today's video, I'm going to show you some plants that have grown back out of nowhere. I've also got to show you some of the koi, and we've got some special underwater footage of these fish. And I also have some plants growing on the side of my greenhouse that I want you all to see because it's just kind of fun. So first things first, if Andrew can come around here, brother, the koi are out. I have been loving them. They have not been getting all the love and attention that I'd like to be giving them these days because I've been pretty busy, but you can see them going. I've actually really enjoyed watching the new varieties increase in size. I have the Garomos. You can click links around here at the Louisville Koi Show where I bought those. They're the ones with the more purplish color on them, more maroon color on them, and of course they go away when I start to talk about them. Those have come on real strong and have grown. That's actually this white and orange one with down at the bottom there with the little red dot on its head. That's actually an American bred Garomo. You can really see the difference on that fish when you compare it to the dark scales on the other Garomo that's not around right now. But when the fish come out, Andrew will show you some more footage of them underwater. I want to show you all some plants that have come back that I thought were dead. I've got this right here. This is a type of hibiscus. I don't know exactly what type it is. I thought this was killed over the winter. This actually grew above the roof line of my house, but has somehow come back. It was like a late bloom, so apparently it died off, but then came back. Last year this time it was about twice as tall. This hibiscus right here, and you hibiscus lovers, drop me a comment on these types of hibiscus because I actually always forget the name of this bad boy. But this plant has just been absolutely amazing. It's more of a later bloomer, but it came out a little earlier this year than it had years in the past. It's getting more mature. I want to point out my favorite plant in the whole pond, and maybe one of my favorite pond plant. It's the red stem Thalia, folks. I brought just like 1/25 of this plant to Aquascaping, bro. I mean, like, there's me. There's this plant. Andrew's got some above off the roof footage of this plant. It's absolutely fabulous. And if you look down right there, you can actually see it growing a new sprout out here. It's actually seeded off and grown right there. So it's just like dominating everything that it touches and does. So I absolutely love it. I do have to bring that plant in the winter. And if I do say so myself, I think it'll look pretty dope in a brand new greenhouse as well. So I'm gonna bring it in the winter, and I'm not gonna cut it back, and I'm gonna let it just keep on going. So I'm curious to see how that will roll. One thing with the red stem Thalia I wanna point out, these leaves right here, I don't know if any of you have kids, you've ever read the books about the boxcar children. My kids, unbeknownst to dad, actually took a bunch of the leaves off of the red stem Thalia. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, and they were making rafts and putting little berries on them and floating them down into the pond. So yeah, kids, thanks for ripping up part of my favorite plant. The red stem Thalia does not care. I want to talk about some of the aquarium plants slash pond plants going on in here. I've got some absolutely fabulous pennywort down in the mix right here. I've got this pennywort right here, creeping Jenny or whatever. It's just going absolutely bonkers in the pond here. I'm totally loving this plant. It actually comes in and melts back on us real bad, so we throw it in the pond, and then like 2 weeks later it just comes absolutely, you know, epic like that. So that's a lot of fun. I also want to point out the lilies. The lilies are just dominating right now. It's middle of September, the time of shooting this. The lilies are great. The problem is that we're gonna have these lilies actually need to be pulled up because they are tropical lilies. Generally speaking, these lilies right here with any sort of the purple variegation, those are the fancy ones. That's actually going to have to come out this winter, which is unfortunate because they are looking really hot right now. I want to point out something that's going on over here as well with the red stem Thalia. And this plant, I want to get your comments on this. People have told me that this plant is like super invasive and can go through people's pond liner. I'm actually gonna undo this plant right here. This is horsetail rush, and people say that this can actually puncture a pond liner. I think that's absolutely ludicrous, but my original goal with it was to make a fence with this plant because I like the look of it, but it's kind of overshadowed by the red stem Thalia. So I'm going to actually uproot all this and bring it out to Greenhouse 2.0 and use it as a decorative thing because I like the way it makes a natural fence. But drop me a comment if you've ever had any problems with horsetail rush, because I feel like, you know, I can just remove it from here. It's growing along the edge and up out of the pond. And I actually saw it being used in a place that does environmental erosion control, and they were using it pretty cool. So I'm probably going to remove that just because it's being dominated by my big daddy from Cincinnati, Miss Red Stem Thalia right here. Real quick before I show you all the aquarium plants growing in my yard, make sure you go check out the Pond Digger. He's actually dropping videos again on YouTube. Go check that out. It'll be linked in the comments as well. I'm actually holding the camera for a change. This is some really fun redneck aquatics we got going on here outside of Greenhouse 1.0. Obviously, I've got a little mud from the drainage. But folks, my best-selling aquarium plant, Telanthera cardinalis, growing entirely up out of the water in the mud in my backyard. I totally love it. I just love the look of it. Like, I want to landscape with it because it's just a completely different plant. It would probably take 2 weeks to convert. But it's just awesome out here. I've also got some Bacopa yellow flame growing out here, which I just think is rad. And you can look down here. I'll pull this out here. Look at the roots on this though. I mean, shocker, it's growing and it's like, you know, natural type conditions. My pond drains out right about there, so you can see it gets water when we do the daily water changes. I've got Liguigia growing right here. This is a native plant in the US, by the way. And then I've got that version of it right here. And I actually don't know the difference between the two. I want to say this is like a Pruensis or whatever. And then I've got this, I believe this is Liguigia rippens, but don't hold me to that because when they're above water, I actually don't know them as well. Do me a favor, folks, hit the like button, subscribe button, share button. I got to run to Greenhouse 2.0 and make sure the water's getting put in. Tank on, everybody. Later.